But at least they had enough sense to raise the taxes 50 cents, so next year you have more money coming in, so that you may be able to replenish that fund balance to some extent. Now, I understand, and the reason why I'm here today is I really was upset about that article that you put in the paper this morning. The board, as you know, Mayor, has all the authority. You presented them your budget. They have a right to change that budget any way they want. Now, I remember when the boards changed mine. I didn't like it, but they were the boss. I only worked for them. And same with you. You only work for the board and the people in the community. The board has the final say on the budget. Now, I understand that you're very upset over the 15th man being put in the budget. But at the meeting, you said it was an illegal meeting, and I don't believe that's the case. First of all, that the mayor doesn't necessarily have to call a meeting. 3 trustees can call, a majority of the board can call for a meeting. If they call for a meeting, they notify the press. Now, you say the press wasn't notified. I can't believe Christine didn't notify the press, because they're usually very good about that. Now, most of the time the press doesn't show up because budget meetings are very boring and they don't want to come anyway. But anyway, besides the point, if they called a meeting and did any action that they took in that meeting to put in the money for the 15th police officer was not, it was only putting money into the budget. That doesn't mean that the 15th police officer was going to be hired. That only happens if there's a resolution at this board authorizing the hiring of a 15th police officer. So their action is not illegal in any sense. Many times we put stuff in the budget, and at the end of the year, or when we got into trouble, we said, oh, we can't hire that person. And we took the money out of the budget and we put it back into the fund balance. Mm-hmm. So what the trustees did was legitimate, and I don't believe, and Sam can answer this question better, and I don't want to put you on the spot, Sam. I don't believe you need to sign the tax warrant. I think the 5 trustees need to sign the tax warrant. And besides, Mayor, this 15th police officer, part of this is you're making. You had an opportunity to get $20,000 from the county for this officer. That would have reduced the trustees' increase in the budget by almost half. Instead of 50 cents, they could have gotten along with 25. But you chose not to take the money from the county. That would have opened up the door, at least to future funding from the county for this position. Now the village finds himself having to fund the whole position. So part of the problem for this is your own making. Now, the trustees want a police officer. I'm not going to stand here and say if I want it or I don't want it. It's not up to me. It's up to the board. If the board sees that they want the 15th police officer and they raise the taxes to pay for it, then they should hire the 15th police officer. First of all, I can just say that drugs have become a very serious problem. And because somebody else from the outside doesn't want to come in and help us, doesn't mean that we shouldn't take care of our own. And, you know, if you have a dedicated officer at school and one in the task force, it certainly helps eliminate a lot of the drugs that come into the community. And believe me, there are a lot of drugs in this community. Mm-hmm. So with that, I'm saying that I would like to see you and the board cooperate better and get this budget passed, get the tax warrant done, and get on with it.
Thank you for your comments. And one of the things you hit on was that you are right, and there's a resolution on for this evening. It is the trustees' duty to sign the warrant, and the resolution that directed me to do so will be rescinded this evening, and then they will be signing the tax warrant.
Okay. Thanks, Brad.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Well, you say that as you leave.
I'm just stepping back.
Okay, all right.
I hate that picture.
Anyone else wish to address the board this evening?
Mayor Sullivan, could I just ask
Shoot,
when
sure.
you might hear about the parking ban on Ryan? You know, there's several people in my neighbors that are here that just didn't feel like they wanted to speak.
Do we want to?
Well, I would want to make a comment just to say that, yeah, we were under the impression that it was a problem for some residents and it seemed like an easy solution to a problem that obviously doesn't exist. So,
I think what we need to do is, as we're discussing forest, right now there's a hold on, the signs aren't gonna go up.
No.
Nobody's gonna get a ticket at this point. And then I think at the next meeting not next week, but 2 weeks from now, probably looking at a resolution whether to rescind that. And I think with the information that several of us have received, I think that's where they're heading. We just really can't say that till 2 weeks from now when we have the resolution, but I believe that's where we'll be heading, is to rescind that.
Thank you.
Can I touch on something else? Jack and the chief, I know that you mentioned to me and a couple others that road is supposed to slow traffic down, but now it's turned into basically any speedway because it has S-curves and the whole works.
I think some of it is just that because the road was undeveloped for so long, people got into the habit of driving very quickly down there. And now, we've got almost a dozen houses in there, and people haven't changed their driving habits. I'm not thrilled about seeing signs, but I would love to see a sign that says slow children at play. I have 2 young children, and as I said, one of the reasons I park out in the street is to slow people down.
There are 2 signs right in front of my house, Danny House, at 20 Ryan Place, that say 20 miles an hour, and it shows the S-curve, but I don't think that people really obey that.
There'll be a lot of high school kids driving pretty fast through the area where I live. I'm Dr. Chu, about 23 Ryan Place. And I have 2 young children again these, and I park my car outside once in a while too, because it slows them down. And it's really kind of dangerous, especially like high school kid and other kid.
sure. At one point, we were moving the signs around, the lighted sign that announced your
The
speed.
message board. Yeah, I can actually, if you, as far as the children play signs go, the state has recommended, if you're not marking a playground, don't use them. They're counterproductive, and they're sign pollution. They really don't serve the purpose. People don't follow them, and if you go to the websites, there's a bunch of websites about why they're not successful, but for the most part, it's that people just ignore them, and they don't have any enforcement power to them. And then they say, and I don't know how much truth there is to this, but they say it makes people feel comfortable, and more children will actually start playing in the road as a result of the sign, and parents become more comfortable with children playing in the road because they have these signs up, which is a false sense of security. So I'm not advocating for that. Unfortunately, anytime you see a speed limit sign on a yellow sign, it's a cautionary speed. It's not an enforceable speed. If you get in an accident, I can write you a ticket for speed not reasonable and prudent. But if you go through those S-curves at 30, I don't want to teach kids this, but
That's legal.
yeah, and those S-curves are just so alluring to those kids coming off of Skyandra and Castile Heights. They love those S-curves.